Picture this, it's the early 1960s, the Cold War is ice cold, Cuba, 90 miles from Florida, is flying the Soviet flag. The Bay of Pigs just flopped, Washington is embarrassed, pressure to remove Castro is boiling over. Out of that pressure came a plan that crossed a line. Operation Northwoods. Drafted March 13, 1962, by the Joint Chiefs of Staff, led by General Lyman Lemnitzer, the memo is titled Justification for U.S. Military Intervention in Cuba. The idea was blunt. Create a pretext for war by staging attacks and blaming Cuba. Let me read the vibe of this document to you. Fake the hijacking of a civilian airliner, simulate a crash and point the finger at Havana. Stage bombs in U.S. cities like Miami and Washington, D.C., with fake casualties. Sink boats of Cuban refugees and claim Castro did it. Spark riots and sabotage at Guantanamo Bay. Hold fake funerals to steer public emotion. This wasn't some fringe idea. It was signed at the highest levels of the U.S. military. The memo even spells out, quote, "We could develop a communist Cuban terror campaign in the Miami area, in other Florida cities, and even in Washington." That's not a rumor. That's text. So how do we know? The plan was declassified in 1997, released by the Assassination Records Review Board, archived at the National Security Archive at George Washington University. Find the document. Search Operation Northwoods National Security Archive. Here's the hinge moment. President John F. Kennedy rejected it. Defense Secretary Robert McNamara opposed it. Shortly after, General Lemnitzer was reassigned to NATO. Northwoods never happened, but the fact it was proposed raises loaded questions. Can a democracy justify deception in the name of security? What guardrails stop secret plans from becoming public tragedies? How does trust survive when we learn what was considered behind closed doors? Since then, Northwoods has become a touchstone. Cited by conspiracy theorists as proof of government deceit, debated in classrooms as a case study in ethics and statecraft, and used as a caution in every conversation about covert operations. Operation Northwoods wasn't a rogue memo. It was a blueprint drafted by the top brass in a moment of Cold War paranoia. Kennedy's refusal likely prevented a dangerous escalation with a Soviet-aligned Cuba. The memo is the warning. Truth can be weaponized, narratives can be engineered, and free societies only stay free if we demand transparency and accountability. History doesn't just tell us what happened, it shows us what almost did, so we can recognize the line before we cross it.